Noise reduction is incredibly important when it comes to color grading, especially if you're looking for a professional looking image. So in this video, I'm going to quickly show you how to do noise reduction in DaVinci Resolve without any plugins, really quickly and really easily. So here we are on the color page. I have a node labeled noise reduction right at the beginning before any adjustments. And if you want to do some noise reduction, you have to go to the motion effects tab over here. Right, this is the way I like to do noise reduction for different types of noise. So follow along if you want to be able to do this really quickly. So here in temporal noise reduction, we're going to change our frames to around 3. If you have a slower computer, keep it to at least 2 and maybe 1 if you have to. I'm going to go for 3 and that's pretty much my average. Then we're going to change motion estimate type to better. Then in our temporal threshold, we want to change this luma and chroma to at least 5. And that is pretty much our minimum. And let's say around 15 should be our maximum unless there are some really intense noise artifacts that we have to get rid of. But I'm going to leave it at 5 because the noise in this image right over here, all of this is actually not too bad. So I'm going to turn it off for now and you can see what it looked like before, and let's turn it back on. So we've done a little bit, but we can do more. So in our spatial noise reduction, under our spatial threshold, let's unlink our luma and our chroma, and we're going to take our chroma up to around 8 as well. And now when we go before and after, we can really see a massive difference and our image is looking a lot cleaner. So take a look at our scope as we do that as well, before and after, and you can see how much we've actually cleaned up in our image. So that's a great way to get rid of that kind of noise. But let's go to another image where we have a lot more noise to deal with. So this image is quite noisy because it was very underexposed. So as you can see in her skin, there's a lot of noise. So how do we deal with this? Well, again, I want to go to my frames and temporal noise reduction and take that to 3, change motion estimate type to better, luma, chroma, I'm going to take up to around 12, and let's go before and after, and that's looking pretty decent, but you can see that there's a lot of color noise that's a problem, and that's our chroma. So let's unlink our luma and chroma under spatial threshold, and we're going to pull up our chroma quite a bit. So let's go to around 12 as well. And now let's do it before and after. You can see a huge difference and our image is looking a lot better. But there's quite a bit of this digital grain. So to smooth that out, I'm going to change my luma to somewhere there. And that's just going to smoothen that out a little bit. And so now we've got this image that's actually looking pretty good. Let's go to a different frame and you can see it as well. So this was before and this is after. And you can see we've made a huge difference, but our image is still looking pretty sharp. So now you know how to do noise reduction. Let's talk a little bit more about what's actually going on. So our temporal noise reduction is actually looking at the frames before and after to be able to see what that noise is doing. And then it is helping us make pretty much an average change. So you can decide how many frames it needs to look at before and after the frame you're working on. So I've chosen 3 so that we can get a good result, but it's still not too crazy on our performance. Then we are changing our motion estimate type to better because it's more enhanced estimation. That way we're not getting this weird ghosting that happens when it's not estimating the motion correctly from the frames before and after. If you have a very fast moving image, change your motion range from medium to large, and that will help with that motion estimation as well. In our temporal threshold, this is really just where we are getting rid of that noise, and we're doing it on our luma and chroma at the same time. Luma being our brightness noise and chroma being our color noise. But here in our spatial noise reduction, we have to do it a little bit differently. So we can leave it as faster in our mode, radius small, but instead of using both our luma and chroma at the same time, you really want to be using them individually. Luma is going to soften our image a lot. So if I put that up quite a bit, you can see that our image really feels super soft, and that's before and that's after, and it's really made it not look so good. Whereas chroma, I can really push that up and you can see that our color is really being affected. So we don't want to be pushing either of those too much, but we can push our chroma to around the same that we have this if we need to as a max, and then our luma at about 2 is our max before we lose too much detail. And just like that, your images are looking really clean. So if you want to learn more about DaVinci Resolve in short tutorials like this, just hit the like button and the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.